Hello, everybody. This is Rich, and you are watching This Imaginary Life. This is basically a GM discussion show, kind of like Car Talk for RPGs, where I get together with some very experienced individuals who have played tabletop role-playing games for a significant portion of their hobby life. And I've said I'm Rich, so next we'll go with Eric. How are you doing tonight, Eric?
I am doing well after the long holiday break for myself. I haven't been around for a little bit.
Good, good, good. And next we have Lowell Francis, also of Play on Target. How are you, Lowell?
I am doing awesome.
And then, last but not least, we have Strash Achivich, who is currently developing Atlas Rising. Is that the name of the
Atlas Reckoning.
Dang it!
Good.
I try so hard to know all the names of all the games that are being made, and I fail sometimes. I'm sorry.
You'll get it right one day.
Atlas Reckoning. I mean, you should think about Atlas Rising. Maybe
That's the sequel.
Well, we'll make sure to make a hack just for you.
Atlas Revengeance. Okay. So then we're going to kick off as we normally do, where we talk about a minute and a half, because we've decided that none of us can talk for 2 minutes besides Eric. Minute and a half about stuff that we're into, and Eric's going to lead it off. So Eric, I have the timer ready to go, and here you go, sir. Minute and a half is yours.
Start her up. All right, so I am super, super excited that I have finally gotten my weekly group that plays nothing but Pathfinder to start playing other games. I can't even tell you. It is a miracle. It's one of the hardest things to do. If you have a very dedicated system that your group loves, getting them to switch is like trying to get them to use a new brand of toothpaste. It's damn near impossible. So we switched from playing Pathfinder all the time to a combination of Numenera, and we are going to be playing, I just picked this up at Gamehole Con, we're going to be playing Icons as well. I'm super excited to see how this turns out. I love a little superhero in my life, but I guess the system is pretty phenomenal. The book is beautiful. Got to talk to the artist while he was there. So not only am I playing one new system with him, which Numenera I've become a very large fan of, I'm also able to play a superhero game as well. I don't know about everybody else, but changing people from a system to a new system, I think the first 3 times we get together to play may be the most teeth-gritting, painful thing I have to do as a GM. It's bad. Nothing makes sense. They're all used to tactical grids. There's no tactical grids in Numenera, which is why I'm happy. There's GM intrusions. They feel like I'm dicking them over when I do that. That's not what it's about. Like, no, it's about storytelling. And then finally, when you get through that 3rd session, they're all in. So my group is loving it.
Okay, stop timer. Okay, yay. There we go. Man, that's awesome. Congratulations for getting people to new system.
Dude, it's rare. Do you know how hard? I mean, seriously. I have other groups that'll play whatever, but my main group only played Pathfinder. Before that, it was 3.5. Before that, that was the path that we followed. I got them to even skip 5e.
All right. So who wants to go next?
Oh, I'll go next.
All right, Lowell. A minute and a half. You are on the clock.
So this is a big week for me. This is the week I do 5 games, play in 1 and run 4 from Sunday through yesterday. 3 face-to-face games. 3 face-to-face games: Homebrew, L5R, Fantasy Guards, and then a multiversal game. And I'm running 13th Age online. And then played Rollmaster with Sean Sanford. Hadn't played Rollmaster in a number of years, and my wife's playing with us. And boy, we'd forgotten just how terrible you are at low level. I mean, and you stay terrible for so long. Had a chance to play Dungeon World as a time before we started just after New Year's. That was something I hadn't tried before. I did a session of Fate Court, teaching session of that online, and I'm going to do another one of those in a week. Working on a couple of games, including Magic Inc., which I posted some stuff for online. And let's see, we had a really good response to the Play on Target Apocalypse World GM Jam that we did. People like that, and gotten some very good response. We're hoping to do more of those. And I'm working on the history of post-apocalyptic games. Should be coming out this week. We're covering 97 through 99. which includes some really weird GURPS source books, including GURPS New Sun and stuff. So that's my minute and a half.
Wow, that was awesome. Man, very good, very good. Josh, if you're ready, you can go, or I can go, man.
I'll jump in.
All right, you are on the clock.
All right. Let's see. Well, it's the new year, so it took us a couple weeks to get back on target. But started playing games. I'm participating in EPI's 51 and 15, where you try and play 51 different games in 2015. So that's going pretty good. I've got 3 or 4 under my belt already. Got a couple more that people are actually in the process of designing. Some cool stuff coming up. I have a friend who's working on a Silk Road game. My friend Kit is working on Arcadia, which is kind of like slightly pre-Victorian England with all sorts of high society, and then thrown into the mix fairies. Things get really weird. It's like Norrell and Strange. And then I've been actually I finished a chapter of work on AR, so I'm waiting on my partner to finish his bit, and while he's doing that, I'm working on some new games myself. So it's been exciting over in this neck of the woods. I think I'll cede you my 30 seconds, sir.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a lot of good stuff to talk about for a minute and 30 seconds.
Is the 51 games any games? Like, it doesn't matter what it is, like board game, card game, video game, everything, or is it just strictly RPGs?
So according to the rules, it can be anything. As a matter of fact,
It's anything tabletop, actually.
yes, it's anything tabletop. Well,
So
actually, that's not true.
not a digital game.
LARP is okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sticking mostly to RPGs. I've kept track of the card and board games I'm playing. Just in case I don't quite cross the threshold, but I'm working on it.
Well, 51's a lot, man. Like, you'd almost have to put in card and board game for that.
Almost.
It's almost like cheating if you like.
But I am challenging myself because I think I could do it. So I'm already way past the January mark. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll just real quick before I go. Yona Hund and Andrea Gauki, the two of them did a challenge for 2014 of new RPGs to them. So this was all new games. Play them, and they're on the Dr. Tom episode that's coming out not tomorrow but the next Monday, and they will reveal their numbers, which trash 51.
Oh yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah,
they're crazy.
Insane. Let's just say the two of them took 51 out back and plugged it in the back of the head.
Yes.
It was like, I can't believe how many games they played, and they were all RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to do my minute and a half. All right, here we go. So Dr. Tom, I mentioned that I'm super into being the production assistant for Dr. Tom the Frog show, where it's like a talk show where this like crazy frog who's a doctor talks to RPG people about their hobbies, some game designers, people who just love games. It's really, really fun show, and I've been happy to be part of that. It comes out every Monday on the Indie Plus. I am about to start playing in a game of Spark, the RPG, for the first time. I got that in the Epimus bundle. Epimus bundle just like blew up my RPG collection. It's like most of the games I got in 2014.
So good.
Epimus. I'm playing in Masks, which is a playtest of a Teen Supers game, as well as No Country for Old Kobold. We're currently playing that in our little mini-series game. That's a fun little paranoia type. Winter's Blossom is the Samurai World hack that Taylor wrote up and can never publish because it's basically L5R with Marcos roll mechanics. So a lot of hangout games going on. And then I've got 7 play-by-post games that I'm either running or playing. So I've got a whole lot of games. Pretty much Dr. Tom, some Indie Plus stuff every once in a while, and lots of games. I'm done. I'm going to stop at 10 seconds. Whooshing noise on my end? I don't think that's me.
I know your voice keeps cutting in and out for me.
Huh, okay. Is it any better now?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah.
So sorry.
No.
Yeah, it seems that there's a weird sound. I don't know if it's gonna translate through or not, but
Yeah, I can totally hear it too as well. That is really weird.
Very on.
I don't hear it.
Yep, that's absolutely me. Okay. I wonder if it was speaker interference. Any better now?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I had my mic near the speaker. I wonder if it was getting some feedback there. So okay. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of games. That was the short version of my minute and a half. All right, so the main topic that we have picked out here, and of course, questions and answers are on. So if you have questions for us about things that are going on at your table, please do let us know. I see we have one live viewer, but if there are more who jump in, let us know. But we're going to talk about so the holidays have just come and gone, right? For whatever holiday you have within the November, December time frame that you hold special, or if it turns out that you don't care about any of them, but some of your game group happens to. This is the place. December is often where campaigns go to die. I have lost in my college career. I lost several campaigns. Go into the end of the semester. It sounds like my background noises come back again. So I go into the end of the semester, and the next semester it was a real trial. Lowell, do you want to take over while I play with my audio and see if we can get this conversation going without my...
Sure, absolutely. So, Strauss, you said you were having some problems with this season. Did you have some games kind of die, or they just kind of feel like they're lethargic and they come back?
That's a tough question. So yes, I had at least 2 campaigns going into December that are. I'm gonna say they're technically on hiatus, but I don't know how optimistic I am that things are gonna get back up and up to speed. So I know that the first cycle, because we whenever we play like long-term campaigns, we usually do bi-weekly, but the first cycle was off. We were short players. One night we ended up doing board and card games, and so when one of my Saturday campaigns got canceled, so. I don't know. It's still in that. It's still in the doghouse. It may recover, but I'm not 100% sure. So.
Eric, have you had that problem as well?
Oh shit! I think my group has had that happen every holiday season.
Really?
Well, I think more in college it was a little easier to handle, in high school even. When we got older, I think that holidays put a big damper on stuff because everyone forgets everything about that fantasy world that you're in, and we come back and they're like, what were we doing again? Even if you have really good notes, we have an amazing note taker in our group. Like, she writes up the entire session. It's insanity. I feel like I'm reading the 5 hours that we play. Even with those, people just fall out of love with their character, fall out of love with the campaign, and revitalizing that has become an art form. It's kind of difficult. For myself, a lot of times I will send out something before and recant what's going on, or I really like to send out an audio, like a voice memoir of what we've done so far, and sometimes that really gets people back into it. Sometimes I built a playlist of music that matches what we got done doing recently, and I send that out to kind of get people back in. And the other thing I found that works well is to be interactive over that time frame in character through either email, text messages, whatever you want to do. It's modern. Text message works better. I know at one point in time I sent out Christmas cards to everybody from a villain in the game. That works really well because everyone's like, what in the hell is this? And I told them, hey guys, I'm sending some Christmas cards, and it was from the villain in the game with like demands for the next time we played. That worked really, really well. So I think to pull them in, you got to find a way to keep a hook in them during that holiday season. Remind them how much better gaming is than their holiday. It's not easy.
Yeah, no, interesting because we have the 13th Age game that we had a big break because it was alternated with another player and a lot of people have kids and stuff, so we had a pretty large break during that. And one of the things is that I hadn't yet done a full map for them, and so that was the thing I put together and sent them over the holidays was that, and that gave them something to discuss and talk about and kept them in and focused on the game and asking questions about it during that time. Strauss, anything that have you done that you're happy with or on that topic that has been successful in the past?
I don't know. I've tried a couple of. I mean, I haven't sent Christmas cards, and definitely no audio. So maybe I just need to step up my game.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of the problem is that you end on a specific note before Christmas, and then people have travel planned. So I know we kind of wrapped up a chapter sort of, so that might also contribute to it. But I mean, this has happened plenty of times to me before. It's just one of those things. The holidays are really hard, largely because I know that every 2 weeks, we've talked about this before on the show even. At the beginning of game, the first thing that I do is everyone's used to at this point. What I say is, all right, so who wants to recap what happened last time? And usually every person will have something to contribute, and people jump in and remind them, and then I'll pull out my book of notes and I'll fill in the couple of things that they missed. But as that time frame stretches, like if you're playing bi-weekly and then you miss a game and it's been a month,
Yeah.
everybody struggles so very hard, and it's something that you can totally see. Like they don't remember, they're not like hooked into it, and the problem with Christmas is that oftentimes that's like usually 2 games that you miss, and so
Yeah.
it's just this big gap, and like the emotional investment's not there. So I've tried sending out like recaps. I've tried telling people, okay, I'm excited. This is what we're doing. Come on, guys. Let's get together. And inevitably somebody's like, well, I've got this thing coming up. I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to make it this time or whatever. Like it just it's rough. So I don't know. I'm on the schedule, not actually this upcoming Saturday. So we'll see if the game happens this time. So
I've had that happen too. Like we have weird breaks in our group because a lot of people in our group travel, and we have some like odd seasons. And I tell people during those odd seasons we're just going to play without them, and they can read through the crazy notes that one person writes. We're lucky there. But I did find that doing an invitation or doing something that has the kind of like a save the date for a wedding, but having a date that goes out or a physical something in their hand they can have that be an envelope with a physical invitation or an email with a physical invitation in it, with something that they get for their character in it, something that kind of draws them back into the world. The other thing I've done too is, like you said with the map idea, hey, I've never made the map, here's the map. I did something like that, but I think I made like a new power for each person who was in the group when we were doing the superhero game. Like it mutated while we were over break. They come back with something, but they're powers that were specifically made to hurt other people in their party, and they didn't know why they got it or what caused it. I've done that, but you got to have something. It has to be interactive. Like I think the more tangible, tactile, and interactive the thing is you use to keep them involved, the better chance you have that they love the idea of coming back. Yeah, it's a little work. I have this cap. I don't want to spend more than 30 minutes on whatever the hell it is I'm sending out. If it's more time than that and then they don't show up, I've wasted valuable time. I could have been doing something else, working on a game, working on a production, whatever. But I think tactile, voice, a video you put together really quick on YouTube, a bunch of images, awesome things that happen, but in a video format of images you Google searched, and then like splash paint over the images from like something that's going on in your campaign. If there's a rebellion, if you're playing Star Wars or whatever is going on, that stuff's fast, and people then feel like they're involved with the world again.
When I had a break in one game, and it kind of was like between one season and the other, I did use PowerPoint to do the opening credits for season 2 with various character illustrations and things, and had it to a Modest Mouse song, and had the full thing. They were able to see it beforehand, and then we played it at the table when we started, and it was a good way to remind people who was in the game, and say, hey, your character's cool. You really want to come back and play them again.
Yeah, we made a template for one of the modern games we were playing where there was a template I put over the pictures of NPCs in the game with the description below them, and I'd have a trailer, and all I would do is drop new people into the trailer for the episode coming up. And there was nothing better than, like, the 3rd season when I brought back a villain they all thought was dead from way back, and you just put that silhouette up with the little colored eyes or whatever it may be. They always freaked out when they saw that crap. They're like, are you kidding me? We killed this dude.
That's great. That's great. One thing I did that was pretty successful, because I saw this pattern, is that I knew that December was going to be rough, right? Because just like you said, Strash, where it's not just like you'll lose maybe sometimes 3 weeks worth going into like November and then December and then coming out of it into January when you got crap weather. It can really be rough. So I planned ahead. And what I was, I effectively brought the campaign to a slow point late November. And then in December, we did a series of effectively one-shots in the world, and so whoever could make it got that look at a whole new character, a whole new view within the world itself. And then we would tie it all together going into January. So the people who couldn't make it, they would hear from the couple of folks who were like, yeah, man, we played this awesome thing in Tokyo, and we were like monster hunters. It was crazy. They're like, well, how's Rich going to work this in? And so they got a little bit of a buzz going with, and continue to play consistently, just plan for absences for those folks who spent time with family or went out of town. That helped.
We have a lot of games nowadays, especially the indie games that come out, have the players make stuff for the world. Even not so indie, like Dresden Files. They make them have make stuff for the world. For our games, we usually have in the beginning, I have something where the groups make power groups, like important, either bad guy, good guy, whatever it may be relevant to the campaign setting. We haven't done it the last couple times. It's a little time-consuming. But what I do is I have them make decisions of what that power group is doing during the downtime. And sometimes if it's a bad guy, it's something crazy. If it's a manufacturer, they manufacture something new that players can now buy from. And they kind of get to make some decisions on what's going on during the actual time that they're not doing anything in game. But yeah, it sucks. And holidays kill gaming, man. They do. You can't always save it. If you can't save it, I always have that ace in the my back pocket where I go, here's a new campaign idea, let's play.
I have that idea. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for the new packet that's coming out. I really feel like running another round of Blades in the Dark, but so I don't quite have it ready. It's almost there, so I was hoping to get another game or two in to buy me time.
Thought Lords of Mars.
Sometimes you can just have your players play the bad guys or some other NPCs that are in there for like 1 or 2 sessions to draw them back in, and then slaughter those people and then bring in their PCs that they're playing before to figure out what's going on. You can do some stuff like that where they play the NPCs. Maybe they don't quite remember their character. You give them like a little 1-card sheet. Here's what you're playing tonight, and do it maybe for 2 hours to get them back into gaming, and then say, all right, you guys have your characters. Let's roll into what we were doing. Remember, everything you just did is going to be involved. Remember the details. And you can do something with that as well.
So there's a difference here. We've got two things that are going on. On the one hand, we've got the idea of how do you get them back and not blowing the game off, versus how do you grab their attention once they come back to the table post Christmas or post holidays.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem of getting their butts to the table or the screen. And I've found getting people to the screen is almost harder than getting them to come to a table.
Yes.
Because they feel like they can just dick around and do whatever they want at home and whatever. It's horrible. And it's super annoying because you'll be sitting there, you'll be like, where's, Frank and whoever else? They're not here yet. Waiting 40 minutes for them. And they're sitting in the room because they're posting stuff on Facebook.
Yeah.
I just call them out directly. It's the best way.
Well, for us, there have been legit reasons to not be around. I cannot, even in the slightest, most jokingest manner, suggest that they were blowing us off. But yeah, it's still one of those patterns that you see so often that it's really, really hard to disregard as just, oh, it's just coincidence,
If you were at a birthday party and had a hangover, it's easier for you to sit in front of a screen with your camera off and play than to get in your clothes, get in your car, and drive to someone's house. But I find they're more likely to drive to my house than show up on screen.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think that's absolutely been my experience with that too. So.
You serve really good snacks?
It's about investment. One of the things that they've noticed is that I've actually had this discussion with lots of people. It's about why you oftentimes sell a game even though you don't really care about the profit margin of it. It's that if people will pay for something, or if they drive somewhere, if they do a thing, they become invested. There's a certain amount of I've put in work. So, and then...
Well, it's investment in habit. They say 5 weeks develops habit. You do something for 5 weeks straight. That's why I hate bi-weekly games. I'd rather just run a stint of 3 games and then be done. Because bi-weekly games, we have one on Monday, and you always forget what you're doing. It is investment. You're totally right. It's investment in habit. You have to develop a habit. And it takes, they say, 5 weeks for a human to develop a habit.
So, yeah. Maybe that might be a thing trying. So actually, what's really funny is I have 3 regular game kind of nights. I'll call them. I have the bi-weekly Saturdays, and then I have Wednesday one-shots, and Tuesday we're usually doing a game that's not really one-shots. We play like a game through, but they're not necessarily very long games. And so the Tuesday and the Saturday is what blipped. So I had one that was weekly, and I had one that was bi-weekly. So I don't know. I don't know if that theory holds water. So
Now, are these face-to-face ones, right? Or
I
online?
pretty much I play everything face-to-face. I've never actually gotten enough. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this because anytime we actually do play online, like whenever Effie organizes like Sunday Morning Swords or something, I do all the research. I get everything installed. I get prepped before time. But I still have this like absurd fear that I don't have enough of the tech down. So I find face-to-face easier. And I'm blessed in the concept that I have a lot of friends nearby and a lot of people who are into getting together for games. So I'm not like somewhere in the middle of nowhere where online is my only option. So.
Online, though, like I use Roll20 for our games, and Roll20 is only a hindrance when you're doing a very tactical game. It's awesome that it allows you to do it for people who play Pathfinder. Our Monday night game is a Pathfinder. It's great you can do it. GM has a lot more prep. But if you're going to play something like 13th Age, Numenera, any of the indie games where it's not tactical-based, it's super easy. All you really need to do is get some images together, drag and drop them on a screen, and you can show off everything you want to see. Just tell your players to have their stats at their table and roll at their table. If you trust them, they don't even need to roll on the screen, because that's the stuff that takes time, is entering all the data.
For most of the indie games that I play, all those games I listed in the whooshing minute and a half, they're all over Hangouts. I don't have a face-to-face group right now. It's one of my gaming resolutions, so I'm going to try to find one. But it's we're a little further afield here, Stosh, but I would be happy to walk you through the process because it's a lot easier than you think, and it's really satisfying to be able to select based on not who happens to be near me and happens to like a thing I'm like and also is willing to try XYZ game. You get to reach out into the ether and say who wants to play this specific game, and then time zones are the only other trouble you got to deal with. So
yeah, I really want to start playing some other games that my group's not playing. I like to play. I don't ever get to play. I always run, and I always end up defaulting to running because I end up enjoying it more than playing. But I would love to play, I want to play a Judge Dredd game really bad. I think it would be so much fun. If I don't play it, I want to run it. I know Alex Mayo wants to run one. He wants to also do Dragon Age Inquisition. We both kind of talked about it. I have a great, 4-episode arc I want to do for a Judge Dredd.
Nice. You
Yeah.
Is there an actual system for that?
Yes, there's 2 different systems for it, actually.
Even better. I only read the comics.
Actually, I think.
3, actually, yeah.
Oh,
Games
wow.
Workshop did one. There's a D6 and a D22.
Yeah.
I like the D6 system a lot because it's quick and fast. The GW one is painful, and it's like pulling your
it's
toe
terrible.
with your teeth.
Terrible.
What's that?
It's very early too. It's like 82.
Yeah. I would love to do. I have a fantastic. I've been reading a lot of Judge Dredd comics. The new stuff is really, really good.
I read the old stuff in 2000 AD.
Right.
And I've seen the movies, of course, but I haven't actually seen the games. So that's
new
awesome.
comics are outstanding, and it's just given me this plethora of ideas of crazy stuff I could run. And it's such a zany, insane, gritty, not gritty satire world that I think it'd be hilarious.
So I'm gonna throw out. I don't know how much more we have on this topic, but I have
a question when you're done, so go ahead.
Bring it on.
All right,
I'll keep
so
this in mind.
your group that you said right now that you're losing, this is a face-to-face group, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is it just 1 or 2 people, or is it a lot of the people in the group that are not wanting to come? It's a 2-parter. I need to know that part first.
All right, so we have 4 people that are playing. Yeah, and one of them. Well, actually, so a couple of situations are changing. One of them was a girl that was working 60-hour weeks, and she was trying to look into also at the same time working on changing her career to something new. And so one of the things that happened is she actually talked to her boss, and she's switching to going part-time. So now she should have more time because before this was the only day a week that she could hang out with people, and it was every other week. So that should give you some idea. So yeah, and so she had to do something for her new career stuff last game, and she was like, "Listen, I'm really sorry, but I'm gonna have to can." And then one person got sucked away into a hobby, which that's a long story. And has so he flaked out, 100% flake. And the last person, the third person, was returning that day, several hours earlier via flight to get home from a 2-day burial of a family member. So we just called it. But the Tuesday night thing, just everyone came back from vacation, and one of the things that happens when you're gone for a week, a number of my friends are programmers, and when you get back, there's that mountain of work that's been waiting for you because you're not there to do it. And so a lot of people got slammed. There were like server migrations and a lot of work excuses. So.
All right, so my part two to this is, obviously your 3 nights you play sound like there's a lot of different people between those 3 nights. That's probably why you have the 3 nights.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a few that are through them, but so the ones that are through them all, those are probably the reliable ones. So the ones that are unreliable, do you guys have an alt game that you play when people can't show up?
I'm usually prepared. So I usually have stuff in my bag, but we decided the new expansion for Sentinels of the Multiverse, which is a card game, came out. And so we were just like, oh, did game get canned? Well, it's time for some Sentinels. So.
Right. Well, I was talking, for our group, what we've done in the past is we have our main game for, you obviously have the one-shot night, but your main campaign that you run a little more long-term, however long-term that may be, we have an alt game because there's always somebody who can't make it for some damn reason. And that alt game is episodic, and it's like watching TV where there's always characters that aren't there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I always have a backup game, and that backup game, I usually base it in modern or future. I feel it's a little easier for people to understand because they watch TV. And it's episodic to where everyone has a character. Every adventure we do is start and finish. There's no layover in between. If there's a connection, it's a light connection, but nobody has to be there. Mm-hmm. And then behind the scenes, everyone levels equally. It's not a punishment for not being there. Everyone levels or gets experience or whatever you get for playing equally. And I do basically a pilot season. And when that pilot season's over, we decide if we still want that to be an alt game or pick up a new alt game. And they run them all like a 30-minute to an hour episode. And that's awesome because sometimes people aren't in episodes because on TV, they're look at like the old General Hospital days. There's one guy who's got a freaking thing where he's not on a single episode during the summer because that's his vacation time. And then he comes back as a new character in General Hospital. The girl watches it. I don't understand it. It blows my mind. I want that job. That is the best job ever. But all you do is have like an in and out. So whatever someone's background, occupation, or something else they do is always what they're doing when they're not there.
That's
and a lot of times if it's someone doesn't show up to my session because they're hungover and I was at a birthday party, that's why their character is not there for that session. So it works really well for modern and future. That's my backup plan. And the only issue with this backup plan is after playing that week, people want to play that versus playing the main game.
Yeah.
Nice.
You have to be careful about that.
So you have to cut it, and you're like, no, it's only the alt. You got to put that hard line down and roll them in. But it makes people show up.
And make the I think it works best when you have the genres different from one another.
Right.
That if you're doing a fantasy game, whatever is the alt game is, Victoriana or whatever. We did that with our game. We had a backup game we had 2 players that were most often missing, so we could count if one was out, the other one was out, and we had something for the other 3 players.
Nice.
I do want to say,
good idea.
I want to say something too that John mentioned last recording we did of this when we were talking about trying to keep things organized when you come into a session. We were talking about investigations and stuff, and he said at the start of the session you write down the plots, the big things on index cards and put them out there on the table, just a handful, the key things. And I will say, since he mentioned that, I've been doing that every session, and really good response from the players. They really love it. They really enjoy it. Even if they've forgotten what happened, they go, oh, okay, yeah, because we had a big break with the L5R game. We were gone it's bi-weekly, and we missed 2 sessions, and they were like, what the hell? But I had the cards there, and they went, "Oh yeah, we're in the middle of this investigation. Here are the characters," and they were right back in it within 5 minutes. And
Also a good
if
idea.
I had just if I had just blurbed it, it wouldn't have been as good.
That works really well. I took it that John was talking about that. I use Post-it notes because they roll up, and I post all the notes on a larger piece of paper and post them down. And on the back piece of the Post-it note has extra details if they figured anything out. I just roll it up and I stick it off to the side, and I unroll it and set it on the table in the beginning of the game, or hang it on the wall. You have a spot to hang it. But then on the back, if someone makes their checks kind of remember things, you just pull off that Post-it note and hand it to them, and let them read the back.
Strash, you were going to say something?
Oh yeah, no, this is a really good idea. I was actually there when John said it, and for some reason I've just not done that. I think I might give that a shot, particularly because I already take notes during game. I have this little moleskin small one that I carry around with me that I usually put game notes in. So it's not even a job. I can just literally whip out those index cards in like the span of 15 minutes. So I think that's actually kind of brilliant, and I think I'll start doing that.
Nice. So, Strash, is there anything else we could do to popcorn you with ideas?
Nah, you guys have been killing it. I wanted to bring one more thing in, which is something that we've been doing because of this, and I wanted to run it by you guys and sort of
Shock collars to tase them when they don't show up.
No, actually, this is really funny. We've started designing a play-by-post. Because one of the problems that people have is that sometimes there's like the other commitments, and it's not that they don't have 2 hours or 4 hours in a week, it's that they don't have 4 hours in one sitting on a specific day that's tied to other people's schedules. And so play-by-post originally only existed because, nerds were lonely in a town and they didn't have people nearby that they could play with, so that was one of the ways that we could interact. But with awesome video connections like you guys are totally pros at, it's kind of fallen out of favor. And I'm looking at it, and I know a lot of people that have they have young kids or something that really kind of crushes their time commitments. But I'm really thinking that this is kind of a genre that's been abandoned that could potentially be looked at again as sort of something that people could do in their own time. Have you ever had either experience with that or used that to sort of supplement a game?
Yes. I'm playing in 7 play-by-post games concurrently.
Okay,
so
do tell.
It hasn't been abandoned. So Storium was a really successful Kickstarter that came out last year, and they just released the Gamma update with a ton of new features, and it's a really cool story-first oriented type of game that has its own built-in system that has some similarities with Powered by the Apocalypse, just some slight similarities, but it's a card-based system, and it's pretty fun. And I know Lowell's doing you've done a bunch of Storium as well, right, Lowell?
No, I haven't done any Storium. I backed it, but I haven't tried it.
Yeah, you should give it a shot. It's the player attrition, unfortunately, is pretty high, but I'm hoping at some point that I'll get a game that lasts a while. Now, the games that I'm playing right now are on 2 sites. One is a homegrown vanilla forum that a friend of mine in Canada runs, and I've got a few games going on there. Another one is Tavern Keeper. Now, Tavern Keeper was a failed Kickstarter. I didn't even know they had play-by-post functionality when they did their Kickstarter because they were kind of couching it around the idea of like an Obsidian portal, an answer to an Obsidian portal. And they have some pretty neat features for creating a group and having a wiki and then being able to actually start hangouts from the Tavern Keeper website. But I don't use any of that crap. It's all the play-by-post stuff. It's really, really pretty cool. And both those websites are free to use and pretty awesome. And Storium is a very low, I kicked in, so I've got that, but I think it's about $20 per year. When they actually launch out of beta or gamma, whatever, when they go official, it's going to be about $20 per year. So it's pretty low cost.
Do you think you could use play-by-post to fill the time frame when people can't make it for game sessions? Like use that be like a bulletin board's wrong, but like what they're doing when the group isn't together, how they communicate, or what's going on in the world, and do a play-by-post and have that be the background. I know you could do it in sci-fi games really easily, Shadowrun, things along those lines, but even in fantasy, do you think there's a way you could do it to like what's going on in the town they're in, and that would help keep people interested? during those downtimes?
I think you absolutely could. I think it takes. It's going to take a kind of system that's very light. If you want to get into map combat, or if you want to run that kind of stuff, your timelines are going to get really out of whack. But absolutely, you could use that as a supplement, especially if, like, where you had talked about playing other characters, or I mentioned as well playing other characters within the world, so that when that asynchronous happens, it's okay. I actually run at one point last year. I tried an experiment where I had one setting, and I had concurrently a play-by-post that was going on at the same time of a live Hangout game, and the Hangout game was bi-weekly. And I was able to keep them pretty much along the very same timeline, and things were flowing back and forth. There were a couple of player overlaps where...
I've done that with multiple gaming groups before. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Now, the problem that I ran into that had nothing to do with play-by-post. It was the fact that the Hangout group was all West Coast, and we were playing at midnight my time, and I couldn't keep up. I
think I might try doing this to use the play-by-post for a group that has an organization that has other people that work under them.
Yeah.
I think they could play those people who work under them that are getting all the shit done that the main PCs don't have time for.
That would be fun.
There's a particular route that I used to take, and this is probably something everybody's done before, especially in an NPC-heavy game, where essentially that's a chance for players to interact with the other NPCs or talk to somebody they want to talk to, or do romantic stuff or whatever. And certainly my friend Scott, who does a Pathfinder campaign, that's what he does in the 2 weeks between sessions. That there's a lot of emailing and stuff. He's running just one game, so he can do that. I can't do that anymore because I'm running so many games. But the one problem, the one difficulty you have to make sure, especially if you're going to set up something like that where there is email interactions, you're using that as a thing, is that doesn't work for some people. Some people aren't into that. And then you might find that you're getting some people who are monopolizing your time on that and are really getting a lot out of it, and some people aren't. And even if the people who aren't, I mean, it's their fault, they're not doing it, they can get a resentment between the haves and the have-nots then. And I've seen that at the table, that they think other people are getting more stuff out of the game, or learning things when the game ought to be just at the table. So if you're going to do it, you need to do it such that it isn't impacting the plot, or it's really very parallel, not intersecting in with it.
I think that comes back to the whole transparency conversation of this is what we're doing with this campaign to help with all... Listen, guys, it's your fault I have to do this. You're not showing up. And
you guys are
because of
assholes.
that, I have a way to fill that with almost like a mini game of what we're doing on the sidelines when everybody's not there. It's true, though. I'm sorry, man. The GM doesn't need to take all the blame. Sometimes the blame goes to the players. Period. I spend time to be ready. You should spend time to show up. If you can't, then this is our alt thing to kind of keep everybody in the mindset of gaming. But I agree. That's like making someone play an indie game when all they do is play miniature games. Like, they are going to have a problem. So you'll have to make sure they're okay with it up front. I do agree with that. And I think I would just use for simplicity, I would just use a Google community, one of the community hangs, and just chat it up in there. I'd make different threads. This thread's about in the city, this thread's about out the city, and then go from there.
Yep. Google Plus community works great for play-by-play.
Strauss, and that you say you use that. Does that record all that stuff? Are you able to keep track of everything there pretty easily?
Yeah. The last time I did anything even remotely like this, I'm about to show my age. It was about a decade ago. I was running like a 40-person LARP, and they run into similar problems with the holidays, particularly because if you're running them at something like a college, you're going to be, there's winter break and school and summer break and whatnot. So I would run secondary games, but we would use the forums to keep it alive. But the one that we just started, we're doing exactly like that. We're doing a Google Plus community, and we have like in character, out of character, like rules discussion, blah blah blah. And so like you have the different categories, and you just slot your things where you need it to go, and that's what's up.
Nice. Play-by-post. That's how you revive your campaign. Or you find go up to the table.
Go so old school, they have to do it.
Well, we're kind of cheating because we're actually working on a new game, but I'll see if I can apply it to the old games as well. I think it's actually something that might revitalize sort of things, particularly over break. So
cool. Well, I'm glad that we could solve all your problems on this Saturday when your game starts up. It's going to be amazing, Strash. You are invigorated by the genius of John Stavropoulos, who's not even here, and some other stuff we said.
And let me add on to that. I just realized I remember another tool we use, collective puzzle solving. Logic puzzles or something like that built in game that you give the whole group to work on in between breaks. We're talking about something that's tactile. I've done that, and that's been useful. There's another one.
Oh, you just basically foist a puzzle on them right before break. They gotta.
In the middle of break, I gave them, here are a set of puzzles for the competition that you guys are at. I'll see you at the table, and then they all kind of worked on it and chatted with each other and figured it out.
It's fun.
That's cool. I've done the alternate reality stuff for downtimes on a Christmas for a modern game. That worked really well as well.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot more work, though. I'm not going to lie. It sucks ass. But it helped a lot. I will never do it again, but man, it was awesome.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we have we've beaten this dead horse quite a bit. Thank you guys so much for coming on, Strush. Thanks for talking about your concerns, and I hope that things go well.
I'm excited to try some of this stuff for Saturday. I'll report back.
Okay.
Good.
We got to get you playing online.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotta do it, man. I will mentor you. I will walk you through, baby.
I'm excited. I want to try it.
Sweet. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and we'll put this in the can. Thank you guys all again for this imaginary life, and we hope that you found something useful. If you haven't, if you've got questions that you need answered, if there are issues at your table, reach out to us. Let us know. Ping any one of us, and we'll hop on and talk about it. We can even talk with you about it if you want to come on the show. We did that last year, and it was pretty successful. So excited to help people out or help each other out, as the case may be. So thanks so much, and have a great night.